Salufalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up,
There doesn't seem to be any sort of great logic behind what they have done.
the founding members of the FijiFirst party handed their resignation letters. Also,
they're going to feel more forgotten than before.
New Caledonia's future hangs in limbo as the French president calls for a snap election. And
Velina Meke Aloha and welcome to the 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture.
FestPac officially opens in Hawaii. In a shock move, the founding members of the FijiFirst party have resigned. Former Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama, ex-Attorney General Aya Syed Qayyum and Party President Ratu Joti Satakala are among those who handed in their notice to the Registrar of Political Parties on Friday. Delphine Herbert asked governance professor Vijay Naidu from the University of the South Pacific what he thought of the resignations.
It's a shocker, totally out of the blue. There were no indications that this might happen, although from the readings that I've seen, they seem to have indicated their resignation to the Supervisor of Elections and the Registrar of Political Parties last Friday. But this was not in the media and it hasn't surfaced until today.
What was your reaction to the people that did resign? You just mentioned there that there was really no indication that this was going to happen.
That's right. Well, as I said, it's a shocking turn of events, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of great logic behind what they have done.
What is the future looking like for FijiFirst? Because, I mean, they are supported by more than 40% of the Fijian population.
That's right. Well, they're the second largest party in parliament, with a difference of only 3 votes between the coalition and themselves. And if you broke up the coalition, then the FijiFirst is the largest party in parliament with 26 seats. So, the mind boggles at what the founding members have decided to do.
Have you heard of what their reasoning was, and what do you make of that?
Well, I don't think the reasoning that Aya Syed Qayyum, the former secretary of the party, has sort of explained, important enough to have resigned over. So he's saying that according to the constitution, once the letter from the political party is sent to the speaker saying that members have not followed political party direction, then the speaker should put in process within 7 days their confirmation that they have vacated their seat. So the speaker hasn't done that. And then meanwhile, 2 other things have happened. The Supervisor of Elections cum Registrar of Political Parties has decided that the constitution of the FijiFirst party should be changed before June 28th. Otherwise, the party would be deregistered for the reason that they don't have a dispute resolution process within the current constitution, which, for me can be easily dealt with. But beyond that, they're alleging some kind of collusion between the speaker and the Registrar of Political Parties. And then they say that the Fiji Independent Commission on Corruption has been mobilized to search the house of the acting secretary of the FijiFirst party, the Member of Parliament Fayaz Koya, and they went and searched his house. But even that is not sufficient reason. So individually in combination, the reasons being given are not good enough for all these people to resign en masse, and thereby, leaving the party in an absolute crisis. So, what is the party?
What message does this send to FijiFirst supporters?
Well, it seems like the FijiFirst supporters, they'll mull over these and they may accept Qayyum's message and sympathize with him and FijiFirst. But I think a lot of people would be taken aback and also would be left with a sense of being let down by the FijiFirst party. And that is reflected in the words of the chair of Dialogue Fiji, who said that this was the most inane kind of decision, which has serious implications for FijiFirst. But beyond then, without a strong opposition, it undermines the coalition government because both the minority parties in the coalition, namely the National Federation Party and the Social Democratic Party, are actually weakened in terms of their leverage within the coalition government.
RNZ Pacific has received confirmation from the Registrar of Political Parties that 8 FijiFirst members have issued letters of resignation. A journalist covering the Kanaki New Caledonia unrest says the French territory's future is in limbo after Emmanuel Macron called snap parliamentary elections later this month. Coralie Cochon told Caleb Fotheringham the proposed constitutional amendment which sparked the unrest may not go ahead. The amendment was perceived by the pro-independence movement as a way to dilute Indigenous votes. She says pro-France supporters will be disappointed, while those for independence will be pleased.
We just learned that when we woke up. So I don't know exactly how the Caledonians going to react. And we don't have a politician reaction for the moment. But that's really our aim today, to know how the Caledonians react to this dissolving of the National Assembly. But I would say that it's quite shocking for people because we really need Paris to, we need Paris to take this Caledonian problem in charge. But it seems that now Emmanuel Macron and Paris going to be very focused on this re-election of the National Assembly. And we are afraid that New Caledonia is a little bit forgotten in all that stuff.
You said that you are not too sure what the reaction is because everyone's just waking up at the moment. But do you have any expectations of how you imagine people will react to this news?
So I think the reaction will depend on which side you are. So, for example, for the pro-France people, I think they will be very surprised and very shocked because they really expect Emmanuel Macron to do this Congress of Versailles at the end of the month. But with the dissolving of the National Assembly, it's impossible to do that anymore. They know Congress of Versailles anymore. So I think they're going to be very disappointed by this decision, by Macron's decision. And on the other side, on the independentist side, I think they're going to be happy because for the moment it means that this project is suspended or maybe abandoned. We don't know yet.
Last time you told me that people feel forgotten in New Caledonia by France, and you mentioned it before. What do you think people will feel like now?
I think they're going to feel more forgotten than before because Emmanuel Macron was really focused on the European election and the Olympic Games. But now he has a very national issue with these elections and the change of government. So I don't know. I wonder where he's going to have time for New Caledonia. He has no time anymore, and his minister is going to change. So Caledonia going to be put aside for several weeks, maybe several months. So I think for the pro-France people, they're going to be very frightened by that. And for the pro-independence, for them, I think they're going to take advantage of that. I think. I'm not sure, but that's what I think.
The 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture has officially begun in Honolulu, Hawaii. The events began with a grand parade of nations over the weekend. Tiana Haxton was there and has the story.
Velina me ke aloha and welcome to the 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture.
It was a sight to behold as the Stan Share Centre accommodated thousands who literally wore their Pacifica heritage and pride on their sleeves. The arena was filled with various flags, song and dance, providing a taste of what festival goers would expect over the next 2 weeks.
We are one body, one people, one ocean.
That was Samoa's powerful statement during the Parade of Nations at the official opening ceremony. It was a sentiment echoed loudly and proudly by all other parading nations.
We are brothers and sisters. We are siblings. We are a family.
Our identity is non-negotiable.
The spirit of unity connected the Pacific delegates who have all travelled across vast oceans to attend the 10-day festival hosted in Honolulu, Hawaii. For festival director Dr. Aaron Sala, he says the festival fosters intergenerational connection.
The goal of the festival in its inception was to create connection between elders and youth, and assuring that youth were connected to their own cultural practice.
Seeing young and old alike gracing the stage, Dr. Sala says the festival helps revive aspects of Pacific cultures that are on the decline.
The goals of the festival have really affected generations of youth who are now speaking our own language. Generations of youth who are now weaving again, carving again, dancing again, singing again.
Speaking during the opening ceremony, the festival's operations director Makanani Sala said it has been a long time coming for Hawaii to host the event.
It's so surreal. You look around and you see these beautiful cultures from around the world. It's so humbling to have them here and really an honor for Hawaii to be the host this year.
Ho'ulula Hui, Regenerating Oceania, is the underlying theme of this year's event. The phrase is an ancient Hawaiian motto from the reigning monarch of Hawaii in the 1870s, instructing the community to rekindle their cultural practices and rebuild the nation. Festival organisers say the theme promotes the revitalisation of Pacific cultures and reminds Pacific people to actively uphold their unique traditions. The Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture runs until the 16th of June.
A new documentary on Niue's marine protected area, Moana Mahu, has been released on streaming platform Disney+. Protecting Paradise, the story of Niue, follows a group of scientists discovering the impact of having 40% of the island's ocean under protection. The film promises to provide hope amongst grim environment news. Brendan Basisi from the Niue Ocean-Wide Project speaks to Caleb Fotheringham about the film.
Basically, it's about Niue, in particular the second expedition of National Geographic Pristine Seas to come back and do a follow-up survey of the marine environment and biodiversity, both around Niue and Beveridge Reef within the Moana Mahu Marine Protected Area. But it's gone a little bit broader than that, and it includes, obviously, the coastal area, the people and culture of Niue, and a few other interesting things about the island.
So what did the scientists find when they came to Niue and they had a look at the ocean?
Yeah, so in 2016, before we put the marine protected area in place, National Geographic Pristine Seas partnered with us together with Oceans 5, but they basically bought the science capability on a chartered vessel along with 15 very prominent scientists led by Dr. Alan Friedlander. and assisted us together with SPC and the local fisheries team here to do a comprehensive survey around both Niue and also Beveridge Reef, which lies about 125 nautical miles offshore. They used that as a baseline, so collected all the science, ranging from the reef fisheries, water samples for plastics and other things, all the way down to 2,000 meters deep with deep drop cameras and stuff. Niue is the second place in the world that they've ever come back to, so 7 or so years on, they've returned to do a follow-up expedition in the hope that it would show some positive changes from having that area locked up for the last 3 or 4 years since the marine protected area was put through in legislation here. And this time they've returned with a 3-man submarine and some additional tools and methods of sampling so that they've enhanced the science capability. And some of the big indicators that they have now reported back as of last week, the science has reported back that there's been, some good signs of biodiversity uplift. There's been identification of a range of new species, one deep sea species that's never been documented anywhere in the world before. And so, it's a fantastic opportunity for us.
That's quite impressive in my eyes that they could see a difference, because 3 to 4 years doesn't seem like that much time to have gone past.
Yeah, so the marine protected area has been put through in the last 3 or 4 years, but it's been 6 or 7 years since the last survey. And so even though it wasn't under legal protection, for half of that time period, because we were already working on it, it was already under watchful eye, and so therefore there wasn't any activity going on in that zone as a result.
Have they noticed the difference between what the marine protected area has done for fishing and just what it looks like?
When they see the documentary, see underwater the fish life and the vibrance of the coral reef and stuff like that, they can relate back to what it was here on the island, 30, 40 plus years ago. And so, it's a really good benchmark to be able to, go back and say, hey, this is what it used to look like before. And that's the challenge for us now for areas around the island here, is to try to get them back towards that direction. And it's already working for them. It's helped through the documentation of these expeditions. They've become a lot more aware of the need for the management rules that are being put in place now, for the management or village community organizations that have been set up to help make decisions around management, to try and ensure that any use of those natural resources is in a sustainable way, but also you add in a factor to create the resilience against climate change.
That's Pacific Waves for today. To listen back, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.